It hasn't quite made it there yet. Everything's been filmed. You just got to do a little bit more of the optimizing for YouTube. Anyway, so this is a Stihl 088. Let me see if I can get a tripod. And we're going to rip the whole thing apart. We're going to pressure and vacuum test it as well. We have to... How can I do this? There we go. Yeah, we've got a lot to do. And I'll give you the rundown, talk you through what's already been done. We'll get that light on as well. I'm just trying to optimize it for you guys. Let's have a look. Oh, you need to be plugged in too. Let's take the laptop off. There we go, that should be clearer for you. Lovely. Yes, kind of a bit sad news really with this one. I've actually already ripped it apart and rebuilt it. However, we had an issue, and that was we had a spun bearing, and unfortunately the repair that we chose to do didn't work, so now it needs to be ripped apart again, and it's just too beautiful of a saw not to get on film. I thought you might enjoy it. Hopefully it makes up for the lack of video which I'd hoped to get out. Anyway, should be a good video. If you guys have any questions, you can let me know, but we're going to rip it apart. Every nut and bolt, we're going to pressure and vacuum test it, and you guys can ask any questions that you have. So let's start with the clutch cover. Have to break that one off. Oh, that one is tight. So clutch cover comes off. That's all good. You guys know how I like to do my rebuilds. I don't like to question what goes where. I just can't stand it. So everything that comes off either gets cable tied or put into a bag. I've run out of little bags. So we're gonna put some cable ties on here for the sake of a couple bucks. It's a really good idea. It's what I like to do. And yeah, give it a go yourself. So we'll take the coil off probably next. We're going to repressure and vacuum test it. I know that the pocket's spun, so yeah, it's not what I'm checking, but I want to just check that the current seals that are in there, which are new, are not going to fail. Sometimes the crankshaft can be a bit worn, and it didn't show any signs of the lip leaking where it contacts the shaft, but I don't want to go through this whole process and find out that's the case. So we're going to dig into pressure and vacuum testing it as well, and you guys can ask any questions that you have. It's a really great opportunity to do so. Let's take the handle off next, and so it doesn't impact a whole bunch, we'll just loosen it up by hand first. And now this should just, yeah. Oftentimes there's different sizes for the handlebars. Don't mix them up, the bottoms and the sides, because you can crack the tanks and the cases. So keep them together. We'll do the same this side. We'll loosen it off before I impact it. Is it a good angle? Yeah. It is a good angle. And again, just so we don't forget which one goes where. So if you run one in the wrong location, you could crack tanks. So just be really careful with that. I don't need to, and I've already got a few. Because I've already got a few, take photos. That's a really often overlooked step. You kind of think, oh, it'll be fine. I'll remember how this goes back together. It's not going to be an issue. Yeah, it's not an issue at that very second, but it quickly can become it. And me and my friend, he took apart his mate's vehicle, and he's a great mechanic. But we've got different styles, you know, and he's so much more experienced and knowledgeable. I'm not trying to tell him that he's wrong, but yes, we couldn't find where one bolt went for this vehicle that he was working on, and we spent like a good couple of hours trying to figure it out. So it's just maybe not a couple of hours, but probably not far off. So anyway, they go on there, they go on there. Keep things in the right location. Hey Jaden, how's it going? Where's Muzz, John? He is currently digesting his food, mate. Relaxing. So yes, unfortunately, for those that do know about this saw, we had a spun bearing. Why am I leaning over so far? We had a spun bearing, and it really sucks for the customer because it means I tried to do a repair that I've done a couple of times before at least, and a repair that you know, is certainly valid in many instances. In this case, the spun bearing, I couldn't save it. So we're tearing right back down again. Plate off. And what's also a shame is I've done a couple of thread repairs, added some thread inserts, and of course now they are a waste of money too, but I'm not charging them for those. I'll deal with that. And I also mentioned I'm not going to charge them to redisassemble it, put the new cases in and reassemble. That will be just, I'll take the brunt of that, because it is what it is. Make sure it's all nice and tight so you don't lose it. This chain adjuster, let's get a rag. 16 people in. Hey, welcome everyone. Just a bit of an impromptu, oh it's tiny, I'll use that. Just an impromptu video. Chain adjuster should be held in with not a nut, a screw. I think that has to go forward. Yes. And it's such a cool saw. Like I just absolutely love it. Awesome. But I would never choose to run one. No. Is it Daniel? No, Daniel, I haven't. And welcome, mate. No, I haven't worked on a 3120. Actually, believe it or not, I might work on one Husqvarna a year, and that's not chainsaws. Like, that would be like weed eaters and leaf blowers and stuff. Maybe a couple of huskies, 2-3 huskies. But we just don't see them out here. They're just not common. They don't seem to be as popular. Maybe the shops, there's not as many, although still, I mean, the funny thing is there are like loads of places that do still sell husky stuff. Like all the big box store shops sell them, but they just don't seem to be as popular. So this is our chain adjuster. And again, I take photos. If in doubt, just take photos. However, I already have taken photos. So I've ripped this apart once already. But I still like to try and put it back in order. Let's go there, and there should be a little O-ring. What was I saying? Yeah, this was, so I gave it a quick run to make sure that there was an issue with it. And there is, unfortunately, so, but that's fine. Jaden, what's the one piece of advice you would give someone starting out with repairing their own saws? Be patient. I reckon patience. I reckon that's something that lots of people struggle with. I'll give you a few tips actually, but patience is up there, because all too often we all want to get to the end of a job and missing little steps and being like, oh, you know, that'll be fine, I'll just leave that. I just won't test that, and you kind of gloss over it. You almost always end up with more problems than you solve, or at least more frustration than what you would do otherwise. And the other one is buying the right tools. I think buying correct tools is really important. You can cause a huge amount of damage with the wrong tools, or not having the right tools, I should say. Yeah, be patient, have the right tools, work methodically in a really organized way. Like here, everything's getting cabled, and this is just my preference. And to the 3 professional mechanics that I speak to, they all tell me it's a complete waste of time. They don't like doing it. They'd rather put things in bags or pots and, you know, whatever. You do whatever works for you. I would rather know exactly that that bolt goes there. This is the second time I've ripped this 088 apart. And with some machines, I'll just put everything into a bag so I know exactly where it goes. On these sorts of machines that I haven't done before, I only done a couple times, everything gets cable tied. And then when it comes to replacing it, you can either loosen it off and reuse it, or you can cut it off. Take lots of photos and you'll rarely ever have problems. So that's just my way of doing it, to be methodical as well. They're the sort of tips that I reckon are like really important. I think they're going to set you up for success quicker than anything else. This is the worst linkage I have ever seen. It's horrific. It's so bad. Anyway, we are going to work with it. Coil we'll take off first. We'll get the wiring out. Not that you're going to be able to see here, but I made these handy dandy long nose pliers with like a small bit here. And anger management classes, Jaden. Yeah. What goes on behind the scenes here? It's kind of entertaining. All good, Chris. I'll save this video for you, mate. Thoroughness, yeah, thoroughness, absolutely. I hate forgetting how stuff goes back together. You wearing a hat? Wearing that hat is a lost bet. No, actually, this hat was given to me by the man that's taught me a huge amount of what I learned and what I know and the way I repair, and still to this day, even earlier today, gave me advice. Even after all these years of me doing this, his daughter knitted it for me, and I've had this for about 5 years. It fits like a glove, and I absolutely love it. I wear it every winter. It's great. Yeah, I think she was like 12 when she 12 or something when she, probably younger than 12. She might have been 11 when she knitted this for me. She was like, do you want this, what are your favorite colors, she asked me. And she made me this based off of the colors I asked, which was like warm brown tones. Bless her. Coil comes off next. It's a really simple ignition setup. This was damaged, so I've used, always keep some, what's this stuff called? Heat shrink. Always keep heat shrink on you of a number of different sizes. It will pay dividends, and you'll be so pleased that you've got it. I had to use electrical tape on one of these spots for an area that I couldn't get the heat shrink on, but it's much better to use the heat shrink than it is tape. Tape doesn't hold. And even simple things. We were talking about being methodical and working slowly and purposefully and using cable ties to secure things in place. It might seem really silly, right? But you will, let's say you take this hardware off and you don't remember where this wire goes. This wire could go here, or it could go all the way over here, or it could go under here, and this could go in a slightly different location or a different twist. And what that might do, you might put that back in the wrong place, try and rewire it, and you find the wire's too tight. So then you try and accommodate that and reposition it, and the whole time it was just that you had it in the wrong hole. So it's a really good idea, I think, or just take a photo of it and put it in a bag. But this is just my preference, and it's never let me down. And oftentimes I think to myself, it's like, I should know how this goes back together. I'll just leave it, but I will take a quick photo, and I try and put it back together. You know, however much later it was, and I can't remember, and I get frustrated, and I'm like, go through my photos, and I find it, or I might sometimes search through the IPL if it's quicker than searching through for photos. But this is the method that I like to use, and it's certainly not for everyone. In fact, as I said, 3 of my mates, who are all professional mechanics, who are all far more knowledgeable than me, trains, my mate Sav and another mate Damien, all think I'm an idiot for doing it this way. So, yeah, whatever. It's okay. This is my preference. So you can't go wrong there. It's kind of all done for you. When it goes back on in one way. Let's take the flywheel off next while the plug's still on. Left-hand thread, or normal, I should say, thread, not necessarily left, but left to loosen. I think it's a 17, which it is. Impact wrench. That is a large, I believe, or is it not? Let's have a look. Here's another tool, flywheel removal tool. Can you see? Oh yeah, it's been amazing. It's this hat is just like, in a world where things just fail so quickly and wear out so quickly, it's refreshing to have something that has lasted me year after year after year. I've washed it a number of times, obviously, and it's still like, it just fits like a glove. I do model engineering on my channel and often mark orientation with absolutely, mate. Yep, I've got a yellow and I've got a red paint pen for that exact reason. Can't go wrong. A good thing about paint pen is, like the naphtha that I use, or the degreasers that I use, or the Stihl Vario Clean that I use, all of that stuff is like it stands up to it. It's only brake cleaner and carb cleaner that doesn't stand up to it. Flywheel tool is the flywheel tool is a tool I should have bought. Yeah, it's a great tool to have, mate. It is a good tool. We're gonna set this off because I haven't got a stop in place, but that's fine. Let's use the compression. There we go. Oh, it's such a shame. I took so much time and care to get these seals in really nicely, sealant, machined parts, and machined a oil seal install tool. Although I'm gonna have to reuse that. Yeah, it's just a shame seeing it. Whatever, it's what it is. This I'll probably put in a bag, to be honest. Little bag, and I won't lose it. Flywheel key. That. And use a cable tie through the top. So that's off, and we will now, we're going to need 2 cable ties. We're going to need a big one. Here's one. I try my best to reuse these black ones. The red ones, not so much. Here's one I reused. It's all bent. And to take these apart, if you don't know, once they're in and they're locked on, lean it back. On the big ones, you just put your nail in there, or whatever nail you've got left. It comes out again, and you put it back in the box, reuse it. Sometimes I just want to get the job done, and I just cut it off, but you can if you want to save it. It comes off, it goes to there. So we've got all that, so handlebar, chain brake system / setup. We've got this part to remove, which is 2 T27s. Come off. They're M4s. straight off. I don't think you have to take the cover off to get this off, but maybe I'm wrong. No, I must be wrong. So, oh, always have some parts trays on hand so you don't lose anything. This covers or protects your oil pump. The oil pump on this is the same as pretty much all of the, well, a number of the oil pumps of its era. And it's basically two gears that drive off each other. The clutch drives another gear. I'll show you. That's an M4 sector. These are all the same size. So this comes off. That now comes off. And what I'll do is just put all four of these bolts, because they're all the same size, so that means it doesn't matter. And a whole bunch of bags. Oh yeah. Yeah. Go in. I don't like the reverse camera. It makes it look like their threads are left-handed. Oh, is it all backwards? No, mate. Left hand, right hand. That's my left hand. It shouldn't be backwards. Is it backwards for you? Is it backwards for anyone else? That might fit in there, that's good. You don't usually see the letters on the screen are reversed. Really? Huh. That's annoying. Yeah. Oh, I could probably change it in my settings, but I fear if I start fiddling, I may end up losing you guys completely. And I want this video to run on and we'll do the full thing. No, I don't want to impact and upset the neighbours. So, take this off next. Don't mess this one up. Yeah, I'll try my best. Well, there's not a lot I can do. Because when I take a video, and I use this camera, it's all the right way. That's so funny. So at the moment, the saw is to my left hand, so you must be seeing it to my right hand. Now I'm going to put all of these together. I think this whole mechanism is all going to go into a bag, if it will fit. I'm going to use one of these big ones. And I reckon, let me just see what those oil pump ones are. If these are all the same length, then I'll put them together. Yes, they are. Okay. So that's all going to go in here. This oil pump has a hole in it. I don't know if you can quite see it. It has a hole in it, and that allows you to access one of the screws that's hidden behind it. Make sure your oil tank's drained at this point. Mine is, but there's still a little bit left. So there should be 3 screws. One, 2. Huh. I think that third one's already in there. That's right. 1, 2, 3. Oil pump goes in. That cover goes in. The brake band is held under by a T27 again. Short. For those that have visited my Patreon, I set up a Patreon where I've put a whole bunch of additional content, and there's more content that I've got in the bank. I just don't want to obviously just release it all in one go. Thank you very much for your support. I really appreciate it, and I hope you're enjoying the videos over there. Don't lose this little rubber O-ring for the oil pump. So this can come out and it twists off. Goes in there. We have a huge amount of tension on this spring. I'll pull it from currently under tension. Let's relax it. Spring pullers. This just happens to be a motocross spring puller. Don't know which way is the easiest way to pull it. Probably this way at the moment. No, we'll pop it off the other side. See if I can encourage it out. You weren't standing there. Right, that comes off. Just got to make sure we're not missing anything else. That's off, that's off. I mean, I'm not going to take anything off. I'm not going to throw anything away until it's all apart and reassembled. It seems to be good. Then we have to get a little pick. And once we've got all the bones off it, then we'll do the pressure test and I can check that this sealing, and I'm sure it's fine, but I'm just having kind of, you know, I just want to be methodical and make sure I'm not missing anything. Tiny C-clip. Sorry, you can't see. Let's spin you around. For those that have just joined, welcome. This is a Stihl 088. We're doing a full disassembly, pressure and vacuum test. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask. Handlebar goes in there. That there, that there. We have a small circlip here. Comes off. This comes off. That comes off. I'd like it had a tiny little bag. Ah, look at that. Which one should we go for? This one. For our chain brake mechanism, which is now removed. And that's going to go inside this bag, so everything stays together. Which it does. Oh, missed the band. Let's tidy up. It's only going to take 30 seconds, but it keeps everything organised. It's worth doing. Like every 15 minutes, I try to just stop, put my tools back to one side, clear out any junk that I've got lying around, any sockets that I'm not going to use again, put those away. Try and stay as organised as I can. That's one good thing about having a wooden table is that you can just wipe the oil into it. It's pretty tricky to always clean everything up. Let's take this out. To one side for now. Okay, we've got all of the mechanism out there. The mechanism's out here. Oiler is out. I might pull the oil hose out actually. There it is. That'll certainly be going in the bag. Because we're going to reuse it. Don't believe the tank comes with it. So we'll use that. I'll put that with the oil pump. Can go in there. All right, where are we? Worthy saw indeed, and yes, it's backwards. Cool, thanks for letting me know. It's backwards. Yes, yes, yes. Thanks, guys. I appreciate it. Yeah, remember for next time, don't mess this one up. No issues, correct. Did you have many issues sourcing OEM parts? No, mate. Yeah, lucky it didn't hit my camera. No, I didn't have any issues sourcing parts. Stihl shop had everything that I needed, which is great. To be honest, Stihl has a really good like parts resource, even for these older machines. Even for your 076, like I did a full rebuild on an 076. Well, not a full rebuild, because I reused the piston and the crankshaft a lot. But you know, bearing seals, manifolds, gaskets, all that good stuff. It was all there. It was all present. So we'll take. In fact, we'll leave that on. We've got to come off this side. Let's take the linkage off. Does it slide forward? Not really. Now let's take the linkage off. Oh man, this is the worst linkage. Did I say that earlier? Oh my goodness. It is the worst linkage on this 088. It's so unnecessarily like complicated and interlinked with additional. Oh, don't get me started on it. Right, we have to. So to do this, we have to take the rear handle off. Now, if I wasn't going to pressure test it, it wouldn't be quite so bad. But because I want to pressure test it, because I need to loosen up the carb, I need to take this off. Bit of tidying again. Try and stay organised. That comes off. That comes off. I'm going to get that up out of the way. This has to come off. This linkage comes out. Now, you should just be able to slip them in and out. Well, you can't. I've tried. And I spent about a good 10 minutes fighting it. And now, nope, it's not happening. It's just gonna be taken apart. Right, this side, carefully prise up and out. There we go. Connecting rod, 6 days. Nice, that's fantastic. I'm pleased for you. Yeah, here it's normally 10 days. 10 days is roughly where they are. 10 working days. Business days. I really want a cup of tea. I'm getting antsy. You guys want to get a cup of tea too? It'd be lovely if one of you was here and you could make me a cup of tea. Wouldn't that be great? I need a little bit more space. I'm going to try a different camera angle. Oh no, I wouldn't be able to see your comments if we did that. Oh, I'll tell you one other thing. The way Stihl has the hoses in their book, it's actually really bad. I rewired or repositioned the impulse hose, and it's far better. It's not now contacting linkages like it was. Did I say this is frustrating? It's really frustrating. Now, this was something I learnt from a really good channel. I don't think they're here, but they're called Married with Small Engines, Erica and... I can't remember his name. Really nice guy, great people. Anyway, they used a limited cap removal tool to remove fuel lines. And I thought it was the funniest thing ever. So I did it. And it's really a fantastic tool for the job. Look at that. It's just great. Okay, that one's off. We'll pliers for this one, I think. Impulse next. Yes, I should actually take a photo of this. Nah. Famous last words. What did I tell you earlier? Of how I've routed it, because it's routed it. How it's been routed. because it's really good. I'm pleased with it. Right, carby now comes off. Linkage comes out. Finally, we're free. Goes on there. Goes on there. Goes on there. Right. We can breathe. Pressure and vacuum test is the most underrated yet important test you can do on any two-stroke, whether it is a brand new Stihl MS500i or a 1940s or 1950s Stihl 07 to a dirt bike to an outboard engine. If it's got a two-stroke engine, you must pressure and vacuum test it and do both. You can't just do one and rely on that as being okay. And talking about being okay, this carb is okay. I've rebuilt it. Yes, so important. Now, what you should have here is a block-off plate. I don't have a block-off plate large enough for this sort, unfortunately, and that really does suck. But we're not testing the intake manifold, we're testing the sealing face. So we're going to do it with, if I had a piece of like aluminium, that would be great, but the piece I've got isn't going to work. Anyway, we're going to do it with some rubber. Here it goes. Yes. So the one tool that everyone who repairs two-stroke and four-strokes, but two-strokes should have, in my opinion, and of course that's all this is, my opinion, is a pressure and vacuum test. Duh. I use the Mighty Vac one. I'll show you in a minute. Oh, this will leak, by the way. I'm in no... Of course it's going to leak because the bearings... the bearing has spun again. But... I want to just check that the sealing face is good against the crankshaft. Oh, that'll work. That's fine. Let's work with that. Okay, we got that. We need to block off the impulse. No, we'll put pressure in here. We'll leave the spark plug in place. We'll use the impulse as our means to get air into it. I've just remembered. To lock this down, I need the bolts, and everything's been really nicely put to one side, but that's okay. We'll tear into it. Do you want a different camera angle? How would you guys like a different camera? Tyler, that's exactly it, John. Of course it is. Oh, mate, game, you're lucky. We have to wait 14 days. We have to wait. If I want to order something from the other side of Australia on the East Coast, it might take me 2 weeks, maybe even 3 weeks to receive a package. If I want to get something from America, it's actually sometimes quicker. So quit your moaning, because 6 days is nothing. You guys are spoiled in the US. I'm sweating looking at another one. I'm sweating of looking at another one working. Does it come by kangaroo? Yeah, it comes on the back of a kangaroo. That's so funny. Johnny's such an idiot. We need to get this strapped down. And do you know what? This is... Yeah, doesn't matter. I like to keep everything together, as you guys know. And this has all been nicely oiled. Look how beautifully shiny it is. I cleaned it and everything. No, I still come apart. That's fine though. It's not a big deal. And I put lovely cable ties on here as well. Doesn't matter. They're coming off. I'm not going to save these two because I've cut the tabs off them already. We are going to put that through there to do the pressure and vacuum test. That goes on here. Our 2 nuts go on here. Now this needs to be torqued up to about 5 Newton meters. I'll use the torque. Oh, I'll use a torque wrench. I'll show you. It's really cool. I bet you've never seen a torque wrench like this before. I'm excited to share it. Right, hold your horses. Are you ready? Da, da, da. Look how gorgeous. How cool is that? It's a torque wrench. We need 8 mils. My fat butt has destroyed this chair and it's cracked. It's really hard to move around, sorry. kind of shimming. So what you do is you take this little silver knob, you unscrew it a little bit, move it to your torque spec, 5 Newton meters, and it also gives me inch pounds, kilograms per centimeter, and something else as well on the other torque wrenches as they get bigger. And then you put the little pin in, and you, what I've bought as well is an addition. These are accurate to less than, yeah, that's it, Warren and Brown. Yeah, that's exactly right, mate. 2%. And in fact, they're a lot more accurate than that, but that's like what they have to meet, and they easily meet it. And I bought the Warren and Brown ratcheting adapter, so in instances where I don't have to worry about space, I can ratchet. And you can actually see it flex. Yeah, that's it, mate. Deflecting beam. You're absolutely right. And it's lovely to be able to buy Australian made. And there's other things that we can buy that are Australian made, but, well, I've just realised we're on to rubber, so I might go a little bit less. But it doesn't necessarily mean it's good. A little bit of both. And again, I don't need to do this. I could just tighten this up by hand, but just to show you how it works. Try to be careful and slow. Of course, I'm going on to rubber, so whether it will actually click at that point, should be now. A bit more. It's painful, isn't it? Come on. There you go, click. And you can redo it. Sorry, that took a long time. I probably lost a few of you falling asleep over there. But that's how it works. Isn't that cool? Thanks, John. Does it matter? I'm trying to think, does it affect anything? No, don't think it does, mate. Are you just giving me a hard time, or are you just letting me know? Just give me a hard time, mate. That's what you're doing. And then you can just loosen it back up. It's ready to go back in the box. So, pressure vacuum test. Nearly there. Quick tidy up. Ouch. We'll just leave it off for now. That's sealed off. Let's do the exhaust side. This has got a really interesting, I've not seen it before, muffler setup. Have a clip. T27's holding it against the case. I've Loctited these in, so that's such an awkward angle. There we go. Zip these off. So this now has two little clips either side, and your muffler comes off. It's cool. So what we need to do is to one side, block off the exhaust side, and this can be rubber as well. I'd really like to be doing this with an air compressor, but I can't because it's too late to run the air compressor. I actually, here look, cut one out. This I've put on here. You take the muffler, you do your absolute best to not drop the seal. Clips then go back on. This is what they look like. I mean, it works. It's kind of cool. I'd probably just prefer bolts, but the good thing about this is it never, I don't think it ever wears. Like, it just grabs and holds, like there's no threads to wear out or anything. And then this hooks back on. So you put that on here. Now you can use a spring puller, or you can simply just push it down with your thumb. And that holds everything in place. Gasket can go to one side here. And we're ready to do, after a tidy, our pressure and vacuum test. So we're expecting it to leak. We're expecting it to leak on the circumference of this seal. That I'm not concerned about. I want to make sure it's not leaking on the lip itself. Now they tend to fail on vacuum, so we'll certainly give that a go. It's going to be a bit tricky, but we'll see how we go with it. So if I took this on its side, let's change you to a top-down view. And I want to try and balance that as good as I can. And oh, there we go. How about that? Right, I'm going to get the pressure and vacuum test, which you can't see. I don't know if it's even going to hold any at all, so it might be a bit tricky to build up anything. We'll just start with pressure. And use a little bit of fuel. Of course, fuel's going to make the Durco swell, but that's fine. That's the failure. That's the spun bearing. It's such a shame. It's such a shame that the fix didn't work, but it is what it is. Sometimes it works really well, other times it doesn't. So, unfortunately, I can't put any vacuum like it is at the moment. There's no point in even trying, but I'd really like to be able to pull enough vacuum to. Heavy grease should work momentarily. That should be fairly easy to clear up still. I've got some number 3, but it's not worth it. So, is that clear? Oh, are your glasses clear? Oh, do you know what? I can actually watch myself. Someone said I should try watching myself. I can do. That's such a good idea. The only tricky thing is, right. Smear some grease in here. I can pull some of this in. So what I'm trying to achieve, for anyone that's just joined, is sealing up the spun bearing area and long enough that I can try. This is not a very heavy grease, to be honest, but long enough to be able to check the seal. I don't think I'm going to be able to. I think it's just going to suck the grease right in, but we'll see. Right. Now, we'll just clean the lip itself. We'll put just a little bit of fuel on there like that. Right, go. Unfortunately, it doesn't want to hold. No. I'm just putting pressure in it now. Okay, well, we can't do it. We just have to wait. Let's carry on the strip. Strip, tear down, whatever you want to call it. So grease can go back. I'll change your position back so you can see. And thanks, mate. Good, perfect. Let's leave that there. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to wash my hands and then I'm going to put some gloves on. I'm sick and tired of all these chemicals on my hands. So let's take the muffler off. Where's my 8mm? 8mm. Hey Alison, how are you? It's lovely to see you. Oh, you deleted it. Well, it's lovely to see you anyway, Alison. Hope you're well. It comes off. Rubber comes off. To keep this clean, hopefully I've got a clean bag here. Hey Mark, how are you, mate? Yeah, I'm keeping very well, thank you, Alison. All very well. Busy, working on all. You're joining us, not that you really care, I'm sure. But you're joining us on disassembling a Stihl 088. One of their like, I don't know if I'd say it's the best saw. It's their largest saw. One of their most sought after, not the most sought after, I don't think. But it's just a fantastic, incredibly expensive saw. And it needs some love. So we'll put this back in a way that I won't lose anything. It goes on there. Got the screws. What's the best way to cable tie? Let's go with yellow. What a fiddle. How are you, Alison? Oh, good. You're good. Great. Should we kick off a Husky versus Stihl argument? I've only ran a few. Actually, some of the Stihls, not just their chainsaws, I've only ran a couple of their chainsaws. Their line trimmers, one or two of the older ones, I really like them. But yeah, I think on the whole, Stihls, although a bit more expensive, probably slightly, I don't know. I don't want to upset anyone. Some things are not so good in where Husky's better and vice versa. So I know that's going to upset a lot of people, so I'm going to keep quiet. I think get whatever you like the feel of. And whatever you like the feel of, but of course, where you've also got good dealer support too. That's really important. It's the same with two-stroke coils. That's another like big point of contention, isn't it? Two-stroke coils. Who's got the best two-stroke coil? I don't quite know why this is so fiddly to do. I'm trying to put this all back together here. Yes, and then not only two-stroke coils, point of contention is mix ratios. You've got the 100-to-1 crowd, the 80-to-1 crowd, you've got the 50-to-1 crowd that follow the manual, you've got the 40-to-1 that want to be 45-to-1 that want to just be a little bit on the, you know, just a tiny bit extra, why not? And then you've got the 40-to-1s, and then you've got the 32-to-1s, and then you have some old people, sorry, I don't mean to offend anyone there, old school people who like 25-to-1. I'm not getting involved. You do whatever you like. It's not my saw. What do they say? Not my saw, not my rodeo. I don't care. And if you want my opinion, run an oil that you like the smell of, because it really doesn't matter. There are a few out there that aren't great, but it's not a big deal. So that goes there. that goes back. That's our little block. These are just rubber inner tube. It's probably 3 mil thick. If you haven't got a pressure and vacuum tester, just get one. Highly recommend it. So our linkages, we're gonna put back most of them anyway. This one, now, yes, I think I do. He says, that way. So this is all just putting it back together so that it's kind of semi-assembled when I come to rebuild it. If I've forgotten anything, I don't have to look at a photo. I can just see how I've done it, and then I know where to go from there. These are all indexed as well, which is just adds to the unnecessary complication. That's on, that's on, that's on. That goes down. That goes down. And then we've got to take the muffler off and split the cases. Okay, that's good. Now we'll put the plastic top cover back on. Again, it just makes your life easier so you won't forget later. One thing I do have to do, please remind me in 2 minutes, I have to take the oil pump back off. I want to put that O-ring on the actual oil pump so I don't forget to put it in place when I assemble it. When you guys set a stopwatch. $10.10 super, nice, sweet, nice iron. Last summer I brought a cheap small McCulloch chainsaw. Oh yeah, they do. They kind of mix in. Ask Klaus about oil. Oh, don't ask Klaus about oil. I near the end of it. Should we kick off the husky? Oh yeah, we got there. Yeah, don't ask Klaus about oil. He loves his oil. Right, so now this is all mostly back together in parts that I can then remember how they go. That's good, that's good. We just need this is a little like security kind of clip to hold everything in place. And just because we can, we'll put that back with the little screw. Like that. That should work again. Oh, I just hate it with a passion. Oh my goodness. Terrible. This has to come off next. Does it? Let me make sure I haven't missed anything. Still, I don't know if Husky is the same. I cannot stand these rubber AV mount systems. Like, I don't mind the AV. I just hate the way it kind of plugs in and then you have to force it, and yeah, not a fan. It's easy enough to take out. It's just, and I use, Stihl makes a product called, actually Stihl doesn't make it. They sell it. Just buy it. N-Pressol called Press Fluid. Get yourself a bottle of press fluid. It's really good to put fuel lines onto barbs, AV mounts in place. It doesn't damage rubber, and it evaporates, apparently. It evaporates. I'm not so sure about that part, but they say it does. When you put the piston in, piston in, The O-ring on the piston for the accelerator pumps, all of those sorts of things is great. I know, sorry, it says it's mirrored. That's a real shame. Nothing I can do about that, I don't think. Other than turning it round, but then I can't see your comments, unfortunately. Hey, Leon, anyone out there in Chainsaw Land have a spare 084 muffler? I don't. They sound great. I guess it's a very Chinese saw. Which saw's that game? One thing I don't like about the 088 is it has a fixed main jet fixed bypass jet on the high-speed circuit. Can't stand it. And it's a dependent carburetor, which I can't stand either. Those two things this saw has. Not a fan. Normally when I take these off, I'll put a piece of cloth in there so I don't chip the paint. These cases are going to be replaced, just so you know if you're concerned. If you do want to know, even just a rag, you can just put a piece of rag in there, and then when you prise, you don't damage anything. But as I said, he's getting brand new cases, so it's not a big deal. So this should now come out. We just have to loosen off this AV. There. Actually, probably, you know what? Let's leave that on. And we'll take this one off here. They were on tight. So that can now come off. Those are there. We have, inside here is your intake manifold. It has a little ring. This stops the manifold from collapsing. Don't lose that. If we can push the manifold down and in on itself, it always wants to peel back out again. There's not much room behind there. If you can hook it behind something, it tends to stay put a bit better, like that. Impulse, this is where these come in. He says, I believe that's everything. Don't want to force anything, but I do think it does just slip out here. You force it and you're like, why is it not coming? And the next minute you realise you haven't taken something off. There we go. Nice and carefully does it. Huh. This is our, goes in here. I'll put that back on in a second. AVs, yeah, I just don't like these. Oh, they're just a nuisance. I'll deal with those in a second. You go to one side. Before I forget, let's screw that back on. Tighten that up. We have to take off, how long have we been live for? An hour. I'm just trying to keep track of how long it takes me to disassemble it. Up. This linkage goes this way. Should be this way. Yes, so this one goes in here, like that, and it connects onto here. This is really hard to push in. Let's try this tuning screwdriver. Still in their infinite wisdom. I've made this so tough and so tight. I always feel like it's going to break, and it will when this plastic ages. Okay. This system by Stihl is used on all of their bigger saws. So when you know one, you know them all. Actually, not only their bigger saws, all of their saws. This trigger mechanism. That's in. Don't want to lose that ring. That's good, that's good, that's good. That's good. Okay, now I feel more comfortable because now I know it's all back in place. This now goes on. Like that. And then this can go in the box of parts as well. And you'll save yourself so much time if you, in the long run, if you take the time now to put things back in an organized way. So for example, even this boot is going to go back in here. That doesn't get lost. The intake manifold ring can go on there. That will come off together. The two screws are going to go into its AV pocket. Muffler's going to come off. Now, did any of you remind me? There's 22 of you here. I hope one of you reminded me. Hope you didn't let me down. Let's see if any of you reminded me. Oil seal reminder. Yes, mate. You legend, Iron. Thank you so much. Do you repair people's equipment? It's a job. Work, Dean. Hey, yes. Iron, you, sir, are a legend. That's so sweet. I appreciate that, mate. Yes. There's a little, you might remember me saying, oh, don't forget this little rubber blah, blah, blah. Well, I haven't forgotten it, but I don't want to lose it and not put it back on or have to take things back off again. So wherever my oil pump is, which is here, with the hardware for the oil pump, which is all in there, I'll just put a little cable tie on it and then I don't forget it. Thank you. I've got the worst memory ever. So that goes there. I bet you're smiling to yourself, aren't you? You're like, oh yes, I remembered. Like, it just make you grin. You're so pleased. I love it. Thanks, mate. That's so good. Okay. AV next. Hateful AV. There must be a better way to install and remove these. I just feel like I'm going to hammer my hand. One. Again, you can protect the pockets and stuff, but that was really nice and easy. That one's worn. Oh, look, you mustn't forget this. That's a little buffer. A bit damaged, but that's okay. It's perfectly reusable. That goes in there. One more AV. I just hate them. I mean, I like the AV like the rubber AVs over the springs. The springs are great. I like both for different reasons, but oh, this one too. This is a little, I don't even know what that does. They can all go in a bag together. So, this side, everything's been removed. That's such a shame to see it down. I've got to take the bucking spike off, obviously. Such a shame to see it all just torn down again after hours of putting it all and reassembling it, but it is what it is. Still got a lot to learn, but I repair for people too and my own. Cool, perfect. All videos have been so good on the two-stroke stuff. Thanks, man. I don't know if that was a compliment to me or just generally videos on YouTube, but either way, it's good. Yeah, it's great. So, these come off. They're going to all go together. My little pad. That's going to go back in its bag for next time. This is all going to go into a bag too. I might put this in the big bag. Actually, no, the cylinder. No, the cylinder's going to go in that box. No, the cylinder and crankshaft should go in that bag. It's a nice big clean bag. Yeah, so muffler. Let's do this. It should fit, hopefully. You reckon it will? Go on, go on, go on, go on, go on. You can fit. Oh, yes! Perfect! Ta-da! Now, we'll take the intake boot off. And if you want to know something interesting, this should be at 45 degrees. And they should be, the gap between the two parts of the clip should be about 5 to 6 mil on pretty much every single Stihl chainsaw that uses this setup, which I like. I think it's good. Now this will have some Permatex. Number 3 on there, which we will clean off now. Ready for next time. We can just give it a bit of a ring. Oh. Oh, whoa! I got a yellow thing popped up on my screen. Oh, $20. Iron, thanks, mate. I have to head off now, but you saved me a heap of money with your videos. Mate, thank you so much. You didn't have to do that. Thanks, mate. That's great. I'm so pleased that my videos have helped you enough to feel like, thank you so much. This is the best thing ever. Never had that before, like a super chat like that. People have very kindly donated to the channel, but it's never popped up like a big orange. So thank you, mate. It's a pleasure. You're more than welcome. And yes, glad that it's been helpful. That's made my day. Thank you. Right. We are. That's just sitting up in the corner. That's just. That's so good. The smiling, that's so ridiculous. Right, thank you, mate. That's brilliant, very kind. Your videos, the piston pump on FS, mate. Those are Dean. Those the FS38, the FS40, the FS55, the FS85, the FS75, all run accelerator pumps, and they are an absolute pain. They cause nothing but trouble. They're only put there for emissions. And for those that don't know, the accelerator pump, essentially, it gives you this, just a little squirt of fuel through the main nozzle of your carburetor, the high-speed side. Every time you touch the trigger, you are... Okay, so every time you touch the trigger, you're moving a linkage. As that linkage moves, you're moving a shaft. And the shaft has a bit of a cam on it, a bit of a step. So what it does, there's a piston, a spring, and an O-ring inside the carburetor. And every time you pull the trigger, it pushes the piston in, and that pressure pushes fuel through a circuit into your main nozzle, into the engine. And what it does is it gives you a metered amount of fuel as soon as you touch the trigger, so anytime you take off from idle, and it stops you having a dip in revs going from idle to full throttle. And the concept is fantastic. It allows you to set the low speed screw much leaner than what you... So the low speed circuit, if these carburetors were a little bit better, you could have 3 adjustment screws, or 3 adjustment screws. I mean, in a way, it would just make things more expensive, but ideally 3. You would have idle speed, progressive idle or part throttle, and then a full speed screw. Because we don't have that part speed fuel supply, or I should say, because we don't have that adjustable screw, some carburetors actually, this one has a, it's called a part, I can't think of the exact word now, of course, it's slipped my mind. Essentially what it does is, as the butterfly opens past another drilling, which is between the first and the second progressive idle drillings, it gives you additional fuel. So it's meant to assist in part throttle usage. But that's not that common, so let's forget about that. The accelerator pump gives you fuel to allow you to go from idle to full throttle without having a dip in between. The accelerator pump allows you to set the idle speed screw leaner, because all that screw should really do is give you fuel for that machine to idle. The accelerator pump gives you fuel for part throttle acceleration, and what they've done is, typically what we would normally do is set the low speed screw rich. We'd give the saw more fuel than what it needs at idle, for the simple fact that we can then go at off idle acceleration without bogging. It's the only reason why we set these rich. Anything with a part or a circuit for the mid-range, you don't set them excessively rich on the low speed like we do with any of these 2-stroke engines. So that's the idea of an accelerator pump. It allows you to set the low speed screw leaner to meet emission standards, and it still gives you good off-idle acceleration. But with that comes other problems as well. They fix one issue, emissions, and they cause another one. The engine starts to bog down when that runs lean and people throw the machine away. So that was a really roundabout way to say I don't like it, but it is what it is. Was that too much? I geeked out on you for a minute there. Hopefully that's not too much. You just let me know. But yeah, so that's essentially that whole system. So going back to what that guy said about the FS38, 38, 40, 55, I think possibly the 70 or 75 and the 85. You can run the same carburetor on all of those machines. There's just a slight difference. I think the cheaper ones have plastic fuel barbs. The more expensive ones have metal fuel barbs. When you do this, put these together with a thing. Ah, Top Conker. Hello, mate. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good theory. Yeah, well, there we go. Sometimes it's nice even just to understand the principles as to why something works the way it does. And that's the idea of that. And it gets a lot of... I've got a funny story, actually. I was helping out someone. Again, cable tie, keep everything together. You can't lose it then. Do be careful with these. You can crush that. It really should go in a small box. I'll see if I can find one. So I was walking Muzz, my dog, and I hadn't been to this park before, and I heard someone trying to start a strimmer. and I could hear it was lean bogging. He kind of got it running and then it stopped, and he kind of got it running and it stopped. And I was like, I really want to go over and say hello and just see if I can help him. You know, I love these things. And so I went up to him, I was like, hey mate, how's it going? He was like, yeah, good. I was like, oh, you're just trying to fix that? And he was like, yeah, just, you know, just having a bit of a struggle. I said, oh, no worries. You know, do you want a hand? And he was like, no, it's all good. And I was like, okay, no worries. Like, because sometimes it can be difficult. You know, he doesn't know who I am. Got no idea who I am. And just a stranger, you know, maybe he doesn't want any help. Anyway, I said, look, no worries. I'm walking around the park. I love repairing small engines myself. And if you want any help, I'm more than happy to come in and share with you what I know. Anyway, after a couple of seconds, he was like, okay. And he came running across the road. And I was like, he was like, so what do you think it is? I said, well, you're lean. So you're not getting enough fuel. You're getting too much air. And we did a couple of tests and pumped the purge bulb and it was sucking air. I said, look, these have the accelerator pump. And so I explained to him, same process, how it works, what it does, what to replace it with, where to get the O-ring from, what size O-ring you need, blah, blah, blah. And he was so happy. And he said, I said, if you like this sort of, something along these lines, if you like this sort of stuff, I actually do YouTube. You know, you can watch the videos on there and hopefully you can enjoy it and come and say hi. And he was like, wait a second, I think I follow you. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah. I told him my name. He was like, I do follow you. So anyway, that was kind of cool. Helped him out, and it's nice to chat and meet people with similar interests, right? It's great. It's really good. So anyway, really nice guy. I haven't heard from him since, but I think he's moved. I think that's a 10. So anyway, that's kind of cool. Yeah, good to hear from you, Phil. Hope you're well, mate. Hope you're doing well. I wonder, you're not off on another cruise, are you, Phil? What's the time? He's in England, so it must be about midday. Nice. Hopefully the weather's nice for you there, mate. Oh my goodness. We're nearly there, ready to split the cases. With all my yapping, I forgot whereabouts I was. Anyway, so that comes out, that goes on there. This one goes up here. And this, pissing, oh no. Dean, I got FS38 when the fuel shoots straight. I have FS38 carby when the fuel shoots straight. Sorry, Matt, I don't, when the fuel street. WI5. Sorry, Dean, I'm not sure what you mean there, mate. Oh, it's raining. Oh, Mark as well. Oh, that's such a shame. My throat's really dry. I need to go get a cup of tea. You can come join me for a second. Oh, there's so many of you. I can't make a cup of tea now. Don't want to lose you all. We'll put this spike in, and then we'll talk about the splitting cases. Not many people have split cases if they're just kind of doing it as a hobby. There's a few little tips that we'll cover. No, you're all good, mate. When it comes to splitting cases, a couple of things are really, really important. Don't hammer on the crankshaft. Hammering on the crankshaft, at the very least, you're going to possibly mushroom it. And worst case scenario, you will actually offset it and you will upset the balance. Or possibly bend the shaft or damage the threads. A whole bunch of stuff you can do. You can actually buy a proper case splitting tool. That can go in the box. I'd really like to find a small box. Do you want to come for a walk with me? No, there's 31 of you. I can't leave you now. I said I was going to wear gloves, didn't I? Oh, here you go. This is not a shout out to them. But these wipes, I don't care what ones you get. I'm sure they're all exactly the same or very close. These are so good. They're like a shop wipe. They are incredible. There's a company called Big Wipes, and I think they're from England. Maybe they're American. They're probably American. But they're great. They like, if you ever get anti-seize on your hands, then these are the things to get. Glad to see Just sorry, the comments are skipping through so quickly. I'll quickly run over them and we'll go into splitting the cases. No, stop. I need to find myself a little bag or a box or a container I can use so I don't damage my... Oh, what's that there? I bet that's got a carby in it. Oh no, it hasn't. Yes, look at this. Look. Do you know, this is so sad, but I don't care. It's one of my passions is saving cardboard boxes. These are they're just, there's something about a really nice cardboard box that I can't resist. Like, it's just ridiculous, but I can't resist it. I can't resist them. I used to have like 15 of them in my cupboard. See? That's just the best. We have a hardware oh, let me ask, forgot what I was going to say. You're fine, Dean, no worries. Glad to see you're keeping your head warm in chilly Perth nights. Sorry, no useful comments on the inner workings of a chainsaw, but I do enjoy listening and chatting away. Awesome. Oh, Alison, talking about warm nights. Don't think I've forgotten about you. Where are we? I was wearing it just earlier. Maybe I put it in the cupboard. I was literally wearing it the other day. I thought I'd put it back in here. Sorry, Alison. Your hat. That beautiful hat that you made me. I lost this one for about 5 days. It's somewhere. I'll keep looking in a bit once I've finished this. I lost this one in my toolbox. But I love it, Alison. I was thinking about it. I put the my scarf on. Wonderful. Thank you so much. See you, Mark. Pleasure having you here, mate. Dean, got the FS38 carby and I had to replace the accelerator pump and it fills up the prime bulb now, but the carby is flooding every time I press it and it comes out the main jet. So that will happen if you're pushing, yes, so if you're pushing the purge bulb and fuel, instead of going into the tank, floods the engine, take the purge off, pull out the little one-way, they're called a duckbill valve, although still, if there's a genuine Stihl carby, they have 2 separate check valves. Flush them out because one of them is letting fuel go back into the carby and one of them sealing. So typically that I experience with the orange or black duckbill valves. I've got them somewhere. And you pull them out, clean it, blow it off, put a bit of oil on there, push it all the way in, and it works great. So give that a go, that might help you. It's so sad, I'm such a loser. Right, tidy time. Oh, we'll keep this. So this is where the piston and cylinder and the crankshaft are going to go. Split the cases. So these have, I think it's 8 bolts. Let's take the cylinder off first. Actually, you know what? No, let's take the bolts out first for the simple fact that the piston's not going to be slapping around. Now these are Loctited in, so I'm going to use this, which is my 3/8. I'm going to use a reducer, which looks like this. 215 in Finland. Cool, nice. Great, lovely to have you here at our Nakoa. It's a pleasure having you guys here. It's nice to, yeah, I like it. Good to have you. Right, we need this, the little adapter. And now, you know what, I might use the Stihl one on this. Everyone says these are really good. I haven't used it in a long time, hardly ever used it, and I've decided to use it more now. This one stays in the impact driver, this one stays on the wrench. Now these are all Loctited in. One. Two. cracking them just enough to... Oh, my phone's not going to die, is it? We were able to resume. I'm back. That's so good. Although, I'm sure most people won't. Oh, there's still 5 of you. Yes! My phone ran out of battery. That's great. I didn't know we'd be able to come back like this. So anyway, I'm back. Yeah, I did. Literally, I was like, why has my phone screen gone all dark? And the next minute, it shuts down. I was like, no, I'm going to lose everything again. Well, I didn't. And I'm back. That's so good. I didn't want to restart a whole other stream and then have to do... I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to do part 2 now. Hey, Don Matteo. Matteo. Is that right? Oh, look at you guys. You're coming back. It's great. Anyway, all I've done while... I ran out of battery. Sorry. I've just taken the case bolts off. That's all I did. And we now need to split the case. Splitting the case. Always, always, always use a case splitter wherever possible. Don't hammer, don't whack, don't wail on the crankshaft. Even with a brass hammer, you can damage it. Now, I'm saying this and I might actually have to resort to it, but at any given opportunity, if you can avoid hammering on crankshafts, avoid it. Before we go any further, we just need to tidy up a little bit. I've got all the hardware here. We're going to put, these are the AV mounts, Stihl's AV mounts, which I was giving them a hard time. Welcome to everyone. Sorry guys, for those of you that left or that have now got another notification that I'm back. My phone ran out of battery. So annoying. And I should have known. Should have known better. Welcome back anyway. So, yes, I was giving these AV mounts a hard time. They're just a little bit annoying to take in and out. But with that said, I really like the feel of the AV. Now, with that said, I really like the feel of the springs on some of their saws. I don't like it on the MS362. I find those too weak. 661 feels great. I ran the 500i. Oh, man, that saw, it is beautiful. That's just such a lovely saw. I just wish it wasn't electronically controlled. Low pressure fuel injection, even though it's low pressure, great. You know, it's obviously got some advantages and good, but the disadvantage of having to have it done at the shop, and like, you know, anytime you want to change something out electronically, it has to go onto the system. And, you know, the injector is like $600+. It's just crazy, 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 crazy. So, yeah, that's the only thing I don't like about it. But the saw itself is amazing. It's light, it's thin, like narrow. It's, there's not a lot you can't like about it. And I know some people don't, it's got a lot of torque, and I know there's a lot of people that say that it 4-strokes a lot. Well, that's only because they're running an 80cc saw in like tiny wood. There's not enough load there. But even in our hardwoods, they instantly load up. But that's the only thing that the only complaint. Oh, and the air filter's a bit rubbish, and yeah, the cover's a bit rubbishy too, but it doesn't matter. Right, quick tidy up. Welcome back to everyone. You're from Poland. Never been to Poland. I've done Norway, Sweden, loads of places in Europe, but never made it to Poland. We need to write case screws. I think you get case screws with it. Now, there should be 2 pins in here. We're going to have to tap them out with a hammer and a 5mm punch. A long 5mm punch. I'm going to do it on my lap. There should be one here. That really hurts. And then there's one here. Let's go back on this one, because it's... You can hear the case already starting to split. which is good. There's one pin. I haven't come across a saw, at least from Stihl, that has one, but in their manual, it does show one pin on that 088. So just bear that in mind. There is 2 pins. Look like that. So that's good. Let's pop the cylinder off. Cylinder are M6 T27s. Right, break apart. Man, I look weak, don't I? But they're really on there. They're really on there. Right, one of you grab hold of the saw while I tackle this. Oh, there we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Good, they're off as well. Sweet. Piston comes out. We can have a look at the piston. It's in actually really good condition. There's a little bit of scuffing here and there, but it's not a big deal. Now, are these going to impact? Nope. Put the decomp in, because otherwise you'll get a whole bunch of vacuum forming and it's really hard to pull the cylinder off. Don't really want to be banging this away. Welcome, guys. Hey Tom, where do you get older Briggs & Stratton parts from? I want to rebuild a horizontal Briggs on my cinema. Awesome. Firstly, mate, what country are you in? In America, it's very easy. You can literally get them from anywhere and everywhere. Australia, it's more difficult. Here in Western Australia, oh my goodness, I can't remember what the name of the shop is called, but if you contact Stihl in Osborne Park and ask for the shop across the road that sells old small engine parts, they'll give you the details. I can't remember. Oh, perfect, mate. Yeah, I can't remember his name, but he has so many old Briggs & Stratton parts, but they're expensive. You will pay a lot of money for it. But yeah, that's where, mate. So you head over. Cool. They're called, Stihl in Osborne Park. I think it's just called Stihl. They'll give you the details to the guy next door. Right. Piston comes out. Just make sure I haven't missed anything. Right. That's good. A bit of a clean up. I won't take the piston off this. And once I've split the cases, I'll put the piston inside the cylinder with the connecting rod all still joined together. Gasket, bin, don't reuse it. Is that number 3? Yeah, it is. Gosh. Ah, that was from when it was... Okay, I'm with you. Right. So, splitting the case. Pins are out. All the bolts are out. This is the tool that I use. Let me show you. Now, you might not need... Some of them are a real nightmare. Oh, you know what? I hope I don't have to take the piston out to... I do. Oh, that's really annoying. I have to get some more circlips for it. I think I have to take the piston off. Let me just see on this saw whether it will come apart. Oh, yes. Oh, of course it does, because the bearing's on here. I really don't want to take the piston. Okay, I really don't want to take the piston off to be able to use the case splitter for the simple fact that you then have to replace the circlips. Now that's not a big deal, but it just means one more thing, and I've got parts already on order for the new cases, so it just means waiting around. So if I can avoid it, I will. Anyway, this is going to come out because the bearing's spun on this side. The other side, not so great. Hopefully it will come out. Maybe I'll just have to put these circlips in there, but I really don't, certainly don't punch on it or hammer the crankshaft if you can help it. Anyway, what you do is you take the case splitter with the piston off. This then goes over the case onto the crankshaft. You tighten it and it pushes the crankshaft out without forcing it and impacting it. You really want to avoid that wherever possible. This side, I'll probably use interesting. I'll probably use, sorry, I'm just looking at, because this is the Loctite repair. This is a big deal. Sorry guys, hold tight. Oh, it's just oil, I think. Yeah, it's just oil. Right, I need to get some pictures of that afterwards, but that's good. Put that there. Yes, what was I saying? Don't hammer on the crankshaft, was that what I was saying? Put this in a press to get this off. I really don't want to take the circlips out because when we install it, the piston can stay in place. Now this has got some, I'll take you over to the shop press. I have to move you around here, do a little bit of shimmying. Okay, how much battery? 24%. Remind me to put you back in, don't let me forget. Yes, wherever possible, don't smash on the crankshaft. If possible. You can just cause so much expense and damage, so we're going to use the shop press. Yeah, thank you, I appreciate it. I recently watched your video on carburetor servicing and I managed to diagnose the problem. The nozzle with the check valve is damaged. Check valve is damaged. You are doing good. Awesome, thank you, Don. I appreciate it, mate. Well done. Good fix, that's great. Let's go there. And we'll put this here. I wonder if that'll give me enough clearance. It probably won't. I might have to go that way. There and there. That goes through here. Like that. I'm going to press on the case off one side and the case the other. And I want it to be right next to it. I'll show you in a second. Just bear with me. Make sure nothing's going to get damaged or caught up anywhere, which it doesn't seem to be. Can you see? Now this has Loctite on it, so we have to keep that in mind. It probably should be slightly warmed up, but anyway. Oh, you see, interesting. It held on one side, didn't it? Not on the other. It might come out with the bearing. No, there we go. See, no force, no bashing, hammering, smashing. Now I'm going to stop there because I've just felt some resistance. I don't know why. There we go. Just need to move this over, I think. Keep going. There we go. And out it comes. You just eliminate, or you drastically reduce the chances of causing any damage if you're careful. That's funny, it came out with the bearing. which is not surprising because I put Loctite on it. And there we have it. That's it. Really important. Now you can, don't get me wrong, I do tap on the crankshaft, but if you can avoid it, it's a good idea. And in this case, I can avoid it, so I did. If you can't, and there are some manuals that say release the flywheel by hammering on the crankshaft. It's just not a really good idea if it can be helped. That's literally all I'm saying. So what we'll do here, to protect the piston and the rings, we'll put it back in the cylinder. Okay, put this back in this way, decomp valve in, click. Here's another tip. Not every machine, the arrow doesn't always face, 1259 very often, double iron, cool. The arrow doesn't always face the exhaust. Most of the time it does, but not all the time. Always check with the workshop manual if you can find it. And sometimes you'll actually find it's the arrow points to the intake, and sometimes you find that the alignment clips for the piston rings, or the pins, the alignment pins, are on the exhaust side. Like, it's totally counterintuitive. So if in any doubt at all, check the manual, try and find out some information on that particular machine, put it back in how it came out, those sorts of things. But yeah, really important to know. There's like, some things are just repeated over and over, and it's like, no, sometimes it's actually not. Like, more often than not, follow the arrow, that's the exhaust, and the alignment pins are on the intake, but it's not always the case, especially on some of these like cheap Chinese made products. And I'm not bashing them, because I have a Ryobi leaf blower in there, I have a no-name chainsaw, or like no known brand chainsaw, great, and they serve a purpose. Just saying, that's when you tend to find it. Okay, we'll put the piston back in. I'll put just a little bit of, use some assembly lube, because it's tacky. Oh, that'll all get washed off, obviously, up before it all goes back together, but just for installation. Got dog hair on there. And then I should really use circlip installation tool, but arrow facing exhaust on this model. All right. If you haven't got these, they're so cheap, guys. Go get yourself a set. Just type in 2-stroke piston ring compressor, and it will come with a whole bunch of stuff, like spark plug, like crankshaft. What's the word? Piston stops. There we go, piston stops. It'll come with piston stops. It comes with one of these things, so you can put the cylinder on, all that good stuff. And one set does everything from a tiny MS-180 up to an 088 at least. It probably wouldn't, it might still work for a 090, which is still the largest chainsaw that they make. This goes in this way. Just see how easy it is. It just makes life so much easier. Right, that's there. And I think I might even put a little bit of something between it so nothing gets damaged. Put that there for one side for now. Now the cases, you can see where I've peened it. Up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. But it hasn't held. So, we have one case, and the other case. Oh no, I forgot about the oil. And that's it. That is how you disassemble, in this case it's still a 088, but it doesn't really matter. All of the saws are very, very similar, almost identical. And that's it. So how long did it take me? An hour, 110 minutes. So just under 2 hours to tear it apart, to discuss things, share all those tips, tricks, ideas, behind the scenes information, everything that goes on. As always, thanks for joining me. I'll check there's no questions. If you have any questions, let me know. I think that's everything. And if you guys want some additional content, there's a whole bunch of extra content on the Patreon that I've just put together. I'm so excited about that. There's challenges, there's quizzes, there's additional videos, there's a whole bunch of behind the scenes, there's tips, tricks, ideas, there's live messenger stuff going on there, there's live videos that are going to be just for Patreons, repairs just for Patreons. You can go over patreon.com/vintage engine repairs. It's in my most recent YouTube video. Thank you for your support. Hope you enjoyed today and look forward to seeing you on the next one. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye. How do I end this? Someone hang up for me. Oh, it's the cross button. Bye.